Hey everyone, it's Dr. David here, El Paso Manual Physical Therapy. We're talking about knee osteoarthritis today. In fact, we're going to be covering specifically the top 8 at-home treatments to naturally heal knee osteoarthritis, or knee arthritis as I say. We've got a lot of good helpful information for you guys today, and this is especially helpful if you've not done anything for your knee arthritis, or you've done very little, or you've been relying on medications and injections and you're thinking about getting a knee replacement, or you've been told you need a knee replacement. This is also helpful a lot if you've been told that you have bone-on-bone knee arthritis. So this is going to be the talk that you want to hear to begin to figure out what to do to treat your knee arthritis naturally, because it is very fixable in many situations. I'd say in more than 9 out of 10 situations, we help people calm their knee pain down, get the swelling under control, then get back to being active again by walking properly, by going up and down, learning how to go up and down stairs, being able to just get back to the things that you love to do, like go to the store, pick up after yourself, like clean up your house, do the chores that you need to do to live. Those things are very attainable without having surgery most of the time. In fact, I think that a lot of knee replacement surgeries are done unnecessarily, and not because medical professionals out there are, trying to just get the surgery in and charge the patient or charge the insurance. I think that they're doing the best they can with what they know. It's just that they don't know how to get the knee pain to calm down and keep it that way for the long term. And there's some key information that I want to be covering for you today to learn how to do that. So with that being said, who's with us? Where are you guys from? Let's see who's here. So comment where you're from and let us know. Deborah Ogden says, thanks for your knowledge. Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to share. I didn't even share anything today, Deborah. I appreciate it, though. Mina16 says, sir, I mostly get pain in the lower end of the quads, narrow heads, and then pain in the kneecap/fat pad after that. Those two opposite points in the quads are painful. Mostly happen after standing in stairs. Yeah, that's usually because of overdominant quads. Oh, there's another part. Why does that pain in the lower side of the quad happen? I use a massage gun, took rest, injections, and focusing on muscle imbalance. Thanks, please guide. Great. So it sounds like you're on the right track. The muscle imbalance is very often the case. If you're very quad dominant, then all those structures on the front of your knee, above the kneecap, like where the quads are, where the ends of the quads are, and where the tendon, let me just show you. This is the quad tendon. So all those quad muscles are up here, and then they attach to the kneecap right there. And then behind the tendon right here is where the fat pad is, and the tendon itself. All that gets very irritated. And so if you're working on the imbalance, then good. If you're still not seeing the success that you are hoping to see, it's probably because you still have a ways to go. You're still working on that imbalance. Your quads are very strong. If this is a bar graph, my hands are a bar graph. Let me put that down so I could do this better. So quads are strong, glutes are weak. You have to get that imbalance to shift, and it can take months. It can take a really long time. And what usually affects people is they walk all day long doing their daily activities, not using their quads. So figuring out they're not using their glutes. Figuring out how to use their glutes while walking is a milestone that you have to cross. So if you haven't done that yet, Mina, that's something that you need to work on, and you need to get obsessive about this. This is a problem that I see all the time is people get it. They get the muscle imbalance. They hear me explaining quads and glutes and feet and abs and all that stuff. And it makes sense. They get it, but then what they don't get next, and I'm not saying this is you, it could be you, Mina, but I'm speaking to everyone that's watching and listening right now. They don't get how much effort it takes, how obsessive about getting your glutes to activate and not overusing your quads, how obsessive you have to be about that. How it might literally be that you need to be thinking about this every hour of the day, maybe even every half hour. From when you're awake in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, you need to be on yourself about this. And this is just for a time while you're fixing the imbalance, while you're getting your knee arthritis under control. But once it's under control, then it becomes a habit at that point, and you don't have to be as obsessive about it. But initially, you might need to be. So my encouragement to you, Mina, and everyone else who's kind of in Mina's situation is keep going. This stuff works. It's just people underestimate how much you have to do with it. And the alternative is you were just shy of hitting the goal, of hitting that inflection point where you're in a much better balance and you're feeling better. And then people end up they give up and they end up having the surgery. and you're not that far away. And then offloading is something else to consider, which I'll be talking about today. All right, Mindy Gross says, hi, Dr. David. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing fantastic, Mindy. Thanks for joining us. I love your profile picture there. You got a beautiful smile. Nancy Morales, 6817, says blessings with prayer hands or thank you hands. Thank you. God bless you too. I appreciate that. Julie Parker says 3 ads when you came on. Ads? Oh, like advertisements? I know the YouTube is getting crazy with that. But isn't it cool? This is free. This is pretty cool, right? Kimberly 573 says, hello, Dr. David, working on glutes. Get it, Kimberly. Hard to do the bridge with, is there another part? Oh, she maybe left it out. Let us know, Kimberly, what you're struggling with. I'd be happy to help you out, Kimberly. Hi, Dr. David. Always enjoy your shows. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you are here, Kimberly. Thank you for joining us. Who else is with us here? We have Karen D. in Hertford, North Carolina. She's got a seahorse on her profile picture. Very cool. We have Cindy Castillo in Josephine, Texas. She says, hi, Dr. David. Thanks for joining us, Cindy. I appreciate it. Lori Wilson. Hey, Lori from Ohio. Let's go. She's here. Nikki Fields Shepherd says, Lodi, those 2 opposite points on the quads and the quads are painful. Yeah. Yeah, the 2 ends of the kneecap right there is a bone that sits in the tendon that connects the quad muscle down to the shin bone, and it's designed to give you some leverage so that when your quads engage, it helps you to extend your knee better, and it controls how fast you bend your knee. It slows down how fast you bend your knee, and so when you are overusing those quads, you can over tension the connection right here where the tendon connects to the bone at the top of the kneecap, and then also at the bottom of the kneecap where it continues on, and all the other structures nearby, like the fat pad. There's bursa there. People get bursitis. You can get tendinitis in the actual tendon itself, and then the muscle can get irritated too. Nikki Fields is in Lodi, California. Awesome. We have people from all over the place here. Who's this? Plant-Based Rooster is in the UK. He's got a UK flag. 71 Shire says, thanks for your previous knowledge. In Atlanta, Georgia. Awesome. Atlanta's in the house. Julie Parker says, I did the grocery shopping yesterday, and by the time I was finished, my knees and back were in so much pain. Oh, no, Julie. Julie, you got to use those glutes when you're shopping at the grocery store. She's in Sydney, Australia. Fantastic. Yeah, you got to be using those glutes whenever you're walking. Lori's in Ohio. Yeah, we said hi to Lori. Fantastic. Donna Crane is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Cool. We have Philadelphia. Hey, Donna. Kimberly says, hard to do glutes with a lesser range of motion because of the knee replacement. About 100%. Works the hamstrings more because I can't bend my leg enough. Yeah, that's going to happen. You have to be able to kind of bend your leg. The more you can bend your leg generally, or get your foot closer to your bottom whenever you're doing a bridge, you kind of take your hamstrings out of it. Geez, that's tough to work on. I think what I would do, Kimberly, is constrain yourself to only lifting as high as you can without really using those hamstrings as much. So you just have to work from where you're at. You have to work with what you got. Let me say that differently. You need to force your body to be glute dominant, because if you try to get the bridge in to make it look like a good bridge, but you're overusing your hamstring every time, you're going to then become hamstring dominant, which is, in my eyes, just as bad as becoming quad dominant, because of the way the hamstrings attach. They come from the back side of the hip, and then they attach to the shin bone down here. So if you have very dominant hamstrings, they're going to add a lot of compression to the knee joint, and they can apply pressure on the meniscus as well. It's not a good situation. You're going to be in an imbalance. Hamstrings are controlling how fast you straighten your knee, and they're helping to bend your knee, of course, but they're not the main movers. What should be the main mover in your body are the glutes. So we need to be training those muscles whenever you're doing your bridges or whenever you're walking in the grocery store, like Julie. You guys need to be glute dominant to fix knee pain, whether it's after a knee replacement, you're dealing with knee arthritis and you just haven't had any replacement yet. If you have a meniscus tear, an ACL tear, patellofemoral pain syndrome, chondromalacia patella, all of these knee conditions are greatly influenced by the muscle imbalance. This muscle imbalance I'm talking about. I'll explain more in a minute. Who else is here? Nathaniel, Miriam, 5148 says, bit late, but on. You're right on time. Right on time. We're just getting rolling here. Haven't even started my list yet, so you're good. Deborah Ogden says, those stretch tips you gave for the upper back pain really helped. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope that you're feeling great. My hope is that everyone here is, see, this is my strength. I'm a physical therapist with specialist skills in preventing surgery, and you guys have your own things that you're great at. Whatever it might be. Some of you guys are teachers, artists, lawyers. You're family members, and you're excellent at that. You need to raise your family, and I want you to not be slowed down in doing those things that you're meant to do because of stupid knee pain. So let's fix that so you can go take care of all the things that you're supposed to be doing. So I'm glad that your back's feeling better. I hope you're getting lots of rest and having lots of fun. Nancy Morales says, I'm on the hip program. Hey, Nancy. And my knee get healed doing hip exercises. Yes, that's how we design our program. So if you are looking to join our hip arthritis recovery program, because you might have hip arthritis and you also have knee arthritis, you're going to benefit either way. And it works the same way the other way around. If you're in our knee arthritis program and you also have hip pain, hip arthritis, you're also going to benefit because the programs are designed to take care of both problems. You just want to, there's our website. You just want to make sure that there's a website right there. If you want to learn more about our hip arthritis recovery program or our knee arthritis recovery program, go to this website right here and you can find more details. And just to let you guys know, in case the website isn't loading very fast, we just had some changes on our website. So it will load. It's just taking a minute. And as time goes on, it should get faster and faster. But in case you get like a blank page, just be patient, leave it, let it load, it'll load. There's free stuff all over our website, and you can start doing a portion of our program for free. And of course, you can watch us here and get help as well. So I'm glad you're feeling better. Was it Nancy? Yeah, Nancy Morales. Danielle Wells is in Washington, D.C. I love that name. That's a beautiful name. Great to have you here, Danielle. I love D.C. I got family out there, and it's a beautiful place. Lots of cool things to see. Birdie Wright says, watching you from the Isle of Man. Oh, it's so neat. I love the profile picture there. And that was a Facebook person, Birdie Wright. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and then also on Instagram. But I can only see your comments if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Who's this? Thomas Bates says, hi from New Jersey. Oh, so cool. I've been to Jersey City. That's a fun place right across the river. And then we have Snickers Coco says, Denise from Chicago. Oh, neat. You're the best. Oh, and so knowledgeable. Muscle balance is working for me. Great. It makes a huge difference. It's, you know what blows my mind about this, Denise, is the cure. In my opinion, this is a cure for hip arthritis and knee arthritis. It's right under our noses. And we're chasing medications and surgeries and all this other stuff, which is really neat. You know, we've advanced a lot in healthcare for sure. They've done some amazing things, but all of it's really just symptom relief and short term. Even surgery, like it doesn't fix the problem for forever. It just kind of delays things. And some people end up with more problems afterwards, obviously. But if you can fix the imbalance, which takes effort on your part, obviously, you have to do some exercise, you have to change some habits about how you live, but you can get so much better quality of life and keep your body the way it's supposed to be for the long term. So I'm glad you're benefiting from this, Denise. Chicago's a fine city. I've been there too. It's a really neat place. Michigan Avenue was beautiful sights of the lake. All right, can we get started on some teaching here? Are we good? All right, I got to get permission from my staff here. They know what they're doing. So let me just get one of the tissues, please. I sweat so easy. It doesn't take much, and I'm under a lot of lights right now. So bear with me as I go through. So I'm getting all wet here too. All right, let's go through this. So we got the top 8 at-home treatments to naturally heal knee osteoarthritis. And I'm going to cover the first one with you guys here. And I'm going to go over supplements just a bit. I get asked all the time about supplements. And here's the thing with supplements. Let me show you what I got here. Come over to the table. Supplements, before I show you all these, they're not going to fix the whole problem. They're going to help. They're going to create an environment inside your knee. I got braces on because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. They create a healing environment inside your knee, but you still have work to do. That's why we have our knee arthritis recovery program, which tells you all those steps of, you know, what to do, what work you have to do. But if you wanted to get supplements, here's some recommendations. And what I also have to say before I show you all these supplements is that they don't work fast. They are not designed to be fast acting like medications are. Like pharmaceutical companies have figured out how to make these chemicals that they put into medications, these medications, if you will, that act pretty darn fast in our bodies. And they're not natural, obviously, which, you know, there's a time to use them, and there's a time where you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be reliant on some of these medications, especially pain medications. Of course, there's medications out there that people do need to live, and that's an amazing breakthrough. So I don't want to knock that. I think that's amazing, and we wouldn't be here without it. But when it comes to knee arthritis and pain, we can't get rid of the pain forever with medications. It's just temporary. What you could do with these supplements like quercetin complex and vitamin C, these are designed to help treat free radicals in your body. So in other words, they're taking away some of the waste products that your joint is creating as it's trying to heal, so that it can bring in the helpful nutrition, the good stuff that your body needs to heal, that your cartilage needs to heal, your ligaments, everything that needs to heal inside your joint, the bones. So I like these. These are just some examples. There's a lot more, and I have videos on YouTube about these. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory as well. These brands are some that I like, but there's better brands out there. Solgar is a pretty darn good brand, but I'm not super loyal to any particular brand. Calcium, magnesium, and boron is another one that could help as well with inflammation, keeping your body healthy. Calcium, magnesium, and zinc is another option as well. And then we have here spirulina. And, I recommend doing the organic stuff as best as possible. It's going to cost you a bit more, but as with any supplement, they all cost some money. You want to finish the whole bottle before you judge its effectiveness or not. And of course, you need to talk to your doctor and make sure that you're okay to take these, because if you're taking a certain medication, it might interact with this and cause some negative side effects. It could cause some problems. So just run it by your doctor and make sure you're okay to do that. This is the most popular medication when it comes to, supplement when it comes to joint problems like arthritis. We're talking here glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, and MSM. I can't pronounce MSM. Let's see. I'll give it a shot here. Oh, no, it's not on the bottle. Never mind. I'm not going to give it a shot. Methyl something. Anyways, this is designed to help recreate the building blocks inside your joint. There's studies that don't like this. In other words, there's research out there that shows that it's not effective, and there's studies that show that it is effective. So it's mixed results, similar to all these other supplements here. You just have to understand that if you take this stuff, you're just setting yourself up to potentially heal better. Vitamin D3, everybody's short on vitamin D3 is what I'm hearing these days. I'm not a medical doctor, by the way. I'm a physical therapist. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. Omega 369, omega fatty acids are important as well for inflammation. So these are just some examples. If you wanted to begin to take some of these, I would first talk to the doctor, make sure that you're okay to take these. And then I would try one at a time, just go through the whole bottle to see its effectiveness. And then just keep in mind that you can't just do this. If you were to just start taking these supplements, or one or a combination of these supplements, I need to tell you right now that you can't expect your knee arthritis to get fully resolved. You might have an improvement, you might feel better, and that's okay, but it's going to come back because there's a big mechanical problem that this is not fixing. But you do need building blocks. In other words, like the molecules that help to heal your cartilage and get the joint fluid healthy again. All that stuff is necessary, and that's what this helps you to develop. So that is supplements for you. And just wanted to address that because I haven't talked about that in a while. And in our recovery programs like the knee arthritis recovery program. I have information about this and more details, and I have videos on YouTube about that go into specific supplements. But like I said, guys, it's not the full picture. You need to make sure that you follow the rest of the stuff here that I'm going to talk about. Let's get to number 2. Braces. Braces can help you control pain. And I've got some on so that I can show you. So on this leg here, I have a sleeve. This would just be a compression sleeve. There's nothing fancy to it. I can, it's kind of loose here. You can see how I can get my fingers under there. And some people will put these on and say that they feel better. It's not really controlling much besides just adding the compressive forces. And if you feel that it's beneficial to you to wear this, then I'm okay with it. I just want you to have an understanding that this is not going to fix knee arthritis. The intent of putting on a brace is to, if it does help you with pain, you could put it on and maybe avoid taking pain medication that day, which saves your guts, your liver, your heart, your kidneys, your brain from the side effects of medications. And so I'm all for this, $30 brace. You can get them for more or less depending on where you find them and what kind of materials you have. This is not a copper one. A lot of people have questions about the copper one. They think that there's some special thing about the copper. The copper in the copper braces is merely just a microbial problem. So it's just a cleaner solution. They don't stink as much because you have this on long enough, you get sweaty underneath. And when you take it off, it's not the best smelling situation. The copper braces tend to smell a bit less, but they don't have any significant difference in impact when it comes to the knee arthritis problem. Now, in this knee over here, I have a much thicker brace, definitely a much more robust brace. This one's got straps in it, and it has, you can't quite see it here, but it's got hinges built into the brace, and you have 2, one on each side, one on the inside, one on the outside, and those hinges bend with the brace. So you have to make sure this is aligned just right. And it feels way more compressive. This one's probably a size too small for me, but I was able to get it on. And you're going to feel a lot more stable in this. This is also not usually necessary for knee arthritis. The only time that I would recommend people wear a brace, and it's like a hard recommendation, is if you have an instability problem in your knee. And the best way I can describe this is if you have had like an ACL tear in the past and you have a very wobbly knee, especially if it shifts when you stand up. Like I had somebody that sent us a video recently, and when they stand up and they put weight through their leg without a knee brace on, their knee goes out sideways to the side every time they put weight on their leg. And I've seen people go inside too. And then once they step off, their leg straightens out. And then when they step on it, boom, it juts out. That kind of motion when you walk is an instability. And that's what a brace like this with brackets on the side would help with. And that would be necessary. It's possible that if you've had a torn ACL in the past, you've had an ACL surgery, you might still have some looseness happening. And over time, as you hit your 40s, 50s, and beyond, you can get osteoarthritis to develop inside your knee. And in order to fix the arthritis problem, you might need to get a brace like this on in order to not have so much excessive motion in your knee and better control the forces going through your knee joints. That might be what brings the pain down initially. So that's what I recommend. But for most people, if they don't have that wobbly situation, you don't have a history of an ACL tear, you probably don't need to wear a brace unless it's for your own personal comfort because you feel like it's better for you. Like it just feels better. But also realize that I've had people that put on the brace, they feel better. And then after 2 to 3 weeks, they're saying, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. It's not helping me as much as it was initially. It's kind of losing its impact. That often happens. And that goes back to the fact, I'll remind them that the brace is going to fix the problem. You need to fix the mechanics behind what's going on in your joint, the muscle imbalance. Hey guys, I want to let you know that the helpline is open. There's a number right there. It's 915-200-4159. I would love to take your phone call and answer any questions, anything that you're stuck on, give you a little bit of advice. I would love to do that. So give us a call. Love to talk to you. All right, let's come back over here. Next up, Number 3. This one is so underrated, low key, as the kids say these days. Hydration. All my staff is rolling their eyes right now when I said low key. All right, so hydration. I'm talking about drinking water. What we easily forget is that our bodies are mostly made of water. And I've realized that people can't grasp how this works in their head. So I wanted to draw you a little picture of why you're 70% water, 60 to 70% water. Some tissues are more water. The last number that I heard is that cartilage is slightly more water than most other things in the body. So when we're talking about healing knee osteoarthritis, it's a cartilage problem. The cartilage is being affected. It's inflamed and irritated. And then the bone starts to change after a while. We need a lot of water in our body in order for the health, the healing to happen. My mouth's dry. I really do need a swig of water. And here's how this works. So let me draw you a little picture here. Let's pretend this is a cell. And inside the cell, you have cell parts. So you have a nucleus in the middle. You have these things called mitochondria all around. And you have other little, what they call them, organelles. There's ribosomes. There's other structures. And you have, proteins inside the cell walls. You guys don't need to memorize this. What I need you to understand is that that's the general structure of a cell. And let's say that's a cartilage cell. What is in between all these things? And there's another cartilage cell nearby, and they're connected usually by a collagen matrix. There's fibers basically that connect all these, and that makes up the structure of your cartilage. But here's the thing is, what is in the dead space between all the things? It's water. Water fills most of the space here. The dark lines I drew are the molecules that's your glucosamine, chondroitin, your MSM stuff, your hyaluronic acid. It's proteins, it's fats, it's all kinds of other things that you eat when you have your food, or if you take supplements, maybe you get some of it that way too. But what's in between all those hard molecules? It's the water molecules. And so if you don't have enough water, if you're not drinking enough water, then the spacing here shrinks and it makes the cartilage less effective. So as a result, you're going to heal less quickly. You're going to have less space for things to travel, less like lubrication, if you will, because nutrients need to get in, right? So if you, for example, your cells need proteins, sugars, and fats, and they need to get into the cell. And the way they travel in is they may be going along some of these chains, but they need water to move along. They need to move through water. And then once they get into the cell, they need to move through water again. So water is extremely important. This isn't explained very much. People just say drink more water generally without really giving a good explanation why, and then just usually leave people feeling guilty because they had too many sodas or coffees or whatever it is, and you didn't drink enough just straight up clean water, just pure water, whether it's from the tap or bottled. I'm not going to get into the differences between that stuff. It's at baseline, you probably just need to be drinking more water. And my best recommendation to you is, if maybe you buy bottled water like this, these are a pint of water. If you have about 5 of these, or for me, this is 40 ounces of water. I will finish 2 to 3 of these a day, and that's enough for me. In the wintertime, it's more like 2. In the summertime, it's 3 or sometimes more than 3 because I need more water in the summertime. I adjust. The activity levels affect this as well. But here's the thing. If you have not been drinking enough water, what I challenge you to do is put 5 of these out a day on the counter or where you will see them. And if you have not drank them by the end of the day, finish them. And here's the thing. You don't need to sip water all day long. Some people think they need to just, wet their whistle, have a sip here and there. And that's fine if you do that. That's not a bad thing. But I don't have time for that. I'm not into that. I don't like just to be sipping water. If my mouth's dry, I'll have a sip. But what I prefer to do is I will down half of this or more all at once and then I don't drink water for hours after that. But I'm hydrated because I drank a bunch of water. It's sitting in my stomach and it starts to go through my blood system, gets into my cells. And then 3, 4, 5 hours later, I do it again. If I know I'm going to go work out like I do most days, about an hour or so before I go work out, I make sure I down some more water so that I have water when I work out. So my body works well as I'm exercising and I'm not feeling not great. So just make sure that you figure out what works best for you. Are you a person that just needs to chug a bunch of water all at once because it's inconvenient for you to be walking around with a water bottle and sipping all day? Or are you the type of person that likes to have the bottle of water and you sip on it here and there? Whatever works, as long as you're drinking more water. You need to be properly hydrated so all the cell functions can happen the way they're supposed to, and you can heal naturally as best as possible. All right, guys, I'm going to get back to some comments here next. You just put things down, and I need to erase this here to give us space for the rest of the talk. Let's see what we got here. We have Taya B. Khalid. Sir, I have a question. I have meniscus injury, and it's 5 months now. I'm still not able to walk. I'm so sorry about that. Is that the only part of the question? Great. All right. First thing that I would look at then is, are you offloading? Because you absolutely should be offloading with crutches, maybe a walker, a cane like this. You need to take pressure off the meniscus, because the way the meniscus is designed, it is a weight-bearing structure. It's this bluish thing right here between the thigh bone. This is the thigh bone and the shin bone. And every time you put weight on it, you're making that meniscus work, do its job. And if it's torn and irritated right now, just like if you were to cut your skin would be torn and irritated. Your skin can't take much force when it's torn and irritated. It needs to heal. That's why it's hurt, and you have to put a Band-Aid on it or cover it up, bandage it up. Your meniscus, you can't bandage it up, obviously, but the way that you give it space to heal is by not putting your full body pressure through it and putting some of it through your arms using a device like this. You have to offload the meniscus if you're going to heal it naturally. The typical process that people go through is they tear their meniscus, they get knee pain, they go get an MRI, they figure out that it's a torn meniscus, and then the doctor says, give it some time, here's some medications, maybe an injection, maybe try physical therapy. The whole time, nobody gets offloaded. Nobody gets told to use this. You're just expected to heal by doing exercises and taking pain medication. And then when it gets bad enough and you're showing up desperate at the doctor's office, or saying, well, let's send you to the surgeon. The surgeon says, I know what to do for a meniscus. We can cut some chunks out and you'll be better. And you could have just offloaded for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, and it would heal most of the time. You got to fix the muscle imbalance too, but offloading by itself will do miracles for you. Go offload, and then I'm willing to bet that you're probably going to feel tremendously better. Great question. Patty Kaufman says, which exercises should be done when having knee pain and weakness while at the same time having a lower back pain flare-up? Are any knee exercises you recommend bad for the lower back? Which exercises should be done when having knee pain and weakness while at the same time having a lower back flare-up? Good. Well, I would start with abdominal exercises, lower abdominal exercises, and then as soon as you can, get to the glute exercises, because fixing the lower abdominal strength will directly help your back pain. That's very often the case. And then fixing the glute strength also helps the back pain while beginning to fix the knee pain. So that's how you would knock out two birds with one stone. But starting with the abdominals is a good place, because it's going to directly affect your back. But usually the order that I have people go in is fix the abdominal strength and the glute strength, and then the foot strength down low. And that tends to give you a better foundation of strength from the center of your body and away. We call that proximal to distal, because that's the way our bodies work. Your core needs to be very stable and strong for your arms and legs to then move from. So start with your abs, and then go work on the glutes after that. The exercises that I recommend, I can't think of any that are going to hurt your back, especially if you're going in the order that I just said. Start with your lower abs. you're probably going to feel just fine, and you'll be better prepared to do any of the leg exercises because you have good abdominal strength. So start there first, Patty. Maria says, is it true that a Baker's cyst does not cause pain? No, I think they're very painful for people. I've seen a lot of people with them. I've never had one myself, but a Baker's cyst, just for the sake of everybody being on the same page, it happens in the back of the knee. It's when the fluid in the inside of the knee joint fluid, builds up too much as a response to there being too much pressure within the joint. The knee says, we got to take some pressure off the bones and the meniscus here. So let's generate some more fluid to hopefully put a little more space in the joint. But if you keep developing fluid, it has to go somewhere, and the backside of the joint is where it tends to go, and that's what develops a little pouch of fluid, and they called it a Baker's cyst. Because it's stretching out your joint capsule, the ligaments in the back of your knee, it's pushing your skin out, it's putting pressure on the nerve right there. It's got to hurt. It's got to be a reason why you hurt. The question I always ask, though, is not, is it really causing the pain? It's what's causing the fluid to build up. Because if you can fix that problem, which is usually a muscle imbalance, then you can get the fluid to calm down and then take pressure off the nerves, the joint capsule, all that other stuff. So I don't agree with the statement that a Baker's cyst does not cause pain. I think that's baloney. Hilda Salazar says, why does my knee pop? Oh my gosh, Hilda, there's so many reasons. The biggest reason that I would say, though, is in the case of a muscle imbalance where the quads are too strong, which is going to put a lot of pressure from the kneecap onto the thigh bone, when you push those bone surfaces together, same thing with the shin bone being pushed up into the thigh bone, you're squashing the surfaces of the cartilage together. And remember, I drew up here all the water that's in there. Well, when you squash the surfaces of the bones together, I'll just draw it for you. Let's say this is your thigh bone right here, and then here's your shin bone. And there's a lot of pressure buildup from the quads. Quads are going to attach from up here. So quads are big muscles up here, and they send the tendon down here. So they pull this way. So the cartilage that's right here, you have your meniscus, of course, and then you have cartilage on the end of the bone. All that gets smashed together, and it's just like taking a dish sponge, a wet dish sponge, and you compress a wet dish sponge, all the water is going to seep out. It's going to go out of the actual cartilage. And so the cartilage itself, which is mostly water, gets dehydrated. And the point of cartilage is to be real slick and smooth to allow movement to happen without a lot of friction. But if it's no longer slick and smooth, then it's more likely to get stuck. Very similar to like a jar of jam or jelly when it's, it got a little bit of jam on the edges because you put the spoon on the edge or the butter knife, whatever you're using, and then the lid sticks. If you move it with enough force, you can pop it loose and then it opens because it unsticks. So if you've been sitting still for a while with that extra pressure from your quads, smashing your dehydrated cartilage inside your knee joint, and then you get up to move it, it pops loose, and then you have better movement after that. That is the number one reason why the joint pops, in my opinion. People talk about gas escaping, and I don't know how true that is. I think that's I don't know if they were able to prove that theory or not, but this theory that I'm telling you seems to be very consistently true with the behavior of the joint, because what I have seen is as we reduce the muscle imbalance pressure from the quads, less popping happens. So that makes sense with my explanation here. Here, we're going to take a call next. We have Janice in Virginia with knee problems. Let's talk to Janice. Hey, Janice, this is Dr. David. Are you with me?
I am, Dr. David. How are you?
Hi, Janice. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us. How can I help you?
Oh, man, I'm hoping that you can. I got a lot of things going wrong here. I used to be what they call a gym rat, right?
A gym rat. I love it.
I did jumps during spin class and all that stuff. So
very nice.
Messed up all my knees. Yeah, I have a malady. I was a premature baby, so whatever.
Okay.
There's one of the bones in each foot that was supposed to fuse together, and my feet it didn't.
Uh-huh.
I have horribly flat feet. when I was younger and had more muscle tone, I could keep that together somewhat. But now I'm not so young anymore, and that's not working for me. Got all kinds of equipment. I love to exercise. Pilates. I love Pilates. I have a tower. I have a wonder chair. I have a ballet bar. All kind of bands and straps and suspensions and things in my basement so I can work out.
Great.
But they told me that I don't know what they measure them in. I don't know if it's degrees or stages, but I'm one stage away from needing a hip replacement.
Oh, geez.
On the right-hand side.
Okay.
I'm not happy about that either.
Yeah.
They said I may eventually need both, and I'm probably going to need both knees at some point. I'm not trying to do either. I want to just exercise.
I hear you.
I don't like aquarobics for me because it causes my muscles to atrophy at my age. So what I try to do is my own thing, and I go in there and do like time under tension. So I'll take a buoy and like stick it under my leg. I'm not a big fan for me with physical therapy because I know how to exercise and the things that have wrong with me. Sometimes physical therapy makes it worse for me.
Sorry.
Now, I do have a prescription for physical therapy that I can do 2 to 4 times a week, they said, for I think 8 weeks. And it is for both knees and both hips.
Okay.
Also, I had a car accident. I was rear-ended. I've been rear-ended many times. But in one of the accidents, I put my foot on the brake to brace myself.
Yes.
And but the impact was so hard that it tore my sandals.
Oh my gosh.
And that was probably the wrong thing to do for my hip cartilage. So, and as you can tell, I talk fast, so I'm trying to give you your time to get my stuff answered. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Let me process and catch up. No, I follow just fine. I talk fast myself. I have to slow myself down. Wow, you got a lot going on.
No, we don't talk fast. People just listen slow.
There you go. It's not us, it's them. Wow. Well, it sounds like you're on the right track. Like you're working out the right muscles. You've figured out that you need to work out, that you need the time. I like that you mentioned time under tension, which is something that I don't really talk about, but it's something that I think about a lot, which means the amount of time that you have your muscle under the tension, that directly impacts your muscle growth. It challenges your muscle more. So if let's say you're doing a bicep curl or a mini squat, whatever exercise you're doing, if you go really fast and you don't put as much time you don't put your muscles under tension for as much time, versus if you go slower than you do, and the more reps you do, then that also adds to the time under tension. So that concept, the fact that you have that thought out, Janice, that's fantastic. That's something to do more of. I would definitely do that. And then the fact that you said you've had physical therapy hurt you in the past, my advice to you would be try different places. You might find somebody that you can work really well with. Our programs are also pretty solid. We've had a lot of people that will do our programs and kind of do some physical therapy. We've had some people that I guess haven't had good luck with physical therapists helping them with hip arthritis or knee arthritis. So they'll just do our program too. But then we do have some people that have some therapists around them that are on board with what we're doing. They'll even show them our program, and they'll kind of modify the treatments to be in line with what we're doing. So that'd be my advice, is to check that out.
Something that I can find anyone that you have a list of people in my area, or that because that would be ideal for me.
Yeah, we don't. We've thought about putting out a certification for therapists, but that's just not on our radar at this time, just because we want to create better programs and help better people, and we're not mainstream, as you've probably figured out, in the way that we do healthcare. The way the things we're recommending. So that's a big uphill battle that we'd be fighting to train therapists in a different way than they're taught in schools. So
yes, I understand. I do. Yep. It's sad because they have an aunt and an uncle that lived in El Paso, and where they still alive. I'd definitely come out there.
Oh, we'd love to see you out here. That'd be fun. We have people visit all the time and come in and get treatment, and some people just come by and say hello too.
I'm thinking about it. Coming out there. It's worth it. I'd rather keep my joints,
Yeah, very possible. Very possible. You need to, even though you've had some, issues. You said you're a preemie, and you've had the flat feet and all that. You can still, if your muscles work, they should respond. And even if your feet never look like they have a beautiful arch in them, that's okay because your muscles are still going to respond. I'm that way. I have very flat feet, but I can still run. I ran 3 miles yesterday, and I feel fantastic today. But I was using the toes. I was using my glutes. I was making sure to not overuse my quads. So you can still do this, Janice. You just got some work ahead of you.
Okay, I hope I can run. I run like $30 socks. You know what I'm saying? Everything I can do, I do.
Good.
Orthotics, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. All that stuff can help. Just don't lose sight of the muscle imbalance. I think you're on board. The time under tension idea is fantastic for you. That's great.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me. I appreciate you calling. Thanks, Janice.
Thank you for taking the call. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
See you around.
See you, Janice. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, she's so sweet. All right. So good question there. She was basically talking about, just to summarize it, she was talking about all the issues she's had. And this is something that I get all the time where people say, well, I have knee arthritis and hip arthritis. I also have this other issue that I was born with, or this other condition, or I have a rheumatoid problem. I have an anti-inflammatory problem, like my body attacks itself, that kind of thing. I have like very loose ligaments, like Ehlers-Danlos. There's other conditions out there on top of knee arthritis or hip arthritis. And my stance on that is always, this mechanical problem of knee arthritis, if your muscles work, if you don't have, as long as like a stroke might change things where the nerves are no longer connected. If you have like Lou Gehrig's disease, or if you're born with cerebral palsy and your muscles just don't work the same way, then that's a separate situation in which you should definitely work with the therapist one-on-one to get specific guidance, because you're going to have certain muscles that just aren't going to work. Stroke, those situations, the nerve situations. But if you have like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, loose ligaments, if you have like an autoimmune problem, you should still work with a doctor, of course, like a rheumatologist. But if you have any of those other issues and osteoarthritis, if your toe muscles work, your glutes work, or you can get them to work, this program is going to work for you. I'm not saying it's going to work 100%. You have a slightly lower chance of fixing the whole problem because you have other issues that need to be addressed, but you're probably going to make some massive progress by going through our knee arthritis recovery program and following our treatment approach that we talk about here on this channel, on this account. So let's keep going here to give you guys some more information. Let's go to number 4. Big one here that I love to talk about. I don't talk about it enough, honestly. Nutrition. I'm going to put nutrition / weight loss. I'll kind of discuss both a bit here. And when I'm talking about nutrition, they're different. Just to delineate the two, nutrition and weight loss are two separate things. They relate, they overlap in some areas, but the way I like to separate them is nutrition is the quality of food that you're eating. It's the nutrients that are going into your body, not necessarily the amount. That has to do with weight more so, but the quality of foods. And what I'm talking about, because I'm not a nutritionist, let me say that. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor of physical therapy who specializes in helping people avoid surgeries like knee replacements and hip replacements. But the foods that you put into your body can influence the joint irritation. And we see people mention this all the time. They'll give up certain foods and their joints feel better. It doesn't fix the mechanical part. It doesn't fix how squished the joint is, but it may buy you some relief so that you can be a little more comfortable during the day and at night and feel like you can get around easier. And my general recommendation to you is the more whole foods you can eat, like stuff like this looks like you could have plucked it off the tree. That's as whole as it can get. The least processed foods tend to be better because they don't have anything added to them, versus if you have something like this. These are tasty. Some people really enjoy these, but if you look at the ingredients list on the back, it's endless. There's a lot of ingredients in there, and it's not a whole food. It's a very processed food. I mean, there's no crackers that look like little goldfish that you can pluck off the trees or out of the ground. These don't grow on a plant. They're processed and made. This is another highly processed food that you can eat. Of course, very tasty. I love Dr. Pepper myself, being from Texas, but it's also got a lot of ingredients, and it's just, not a healthy food to be eating versus something like an apple or an orange, or depending on your genetic nutritional needs, you might be more of a plant eater, you might be more of a carnivore, you might be a mix of the two. I'm not going to get into that. Everybody's different, in my opinion. You got to figure out what works for you. But the take-home message when it comes to nutrition is you need to play with your diet so that you eat the right foods that make your joints feel best. Very, very important. Now, the weight loss part, so I'll kind of delineate these as A and B, because this is A right here and this is B. Not one is more important than the other. Depends on your situation. Weight loss has to do with how much weight you have on your body. And the thing is, a lot of people with going to the doctor who have knee arthritis, almost everyone out there that I've seen, that I've talked to, that even just has a little bit of extra weight, I mean, we're talking 10, 20 pounds, they get told by their doctor right away is you need to lose weight. That's going to help your knee arthritis. And the doctors aren't wrong in saying that. But what I like to focus on, can I have this tissue? Is thinking about how big the problem really is for you. And I've over the past like 6 months or so, I've kind of been whittling down the numbers a bit better for you guys based on data that we're getting from the people in our groups and our knee arthritis and hip arthritis recovery programs. And here's the best way to think about it. If your knee arthritis problem is a pie chart and your weight is not that high, let's say you're just 10, 20 pounds overweight, then in reality, what I would say is 75% here, I'm going to draw the number, 75% is a muscle imbalance. That's why I have MI written there. Versus over here, we have a nutrient problem, nutrition, and then here is a weight problem. These are together 25%, and really, it's 12 and a half and 12 and a half to make up that. If you are in this situation where you're just 10, 20 pounds overweight, this is probably what your pie chart looks like. And if you look at it this way, then it's obvious that you should be focusing on fixing the muscle imbalance, not trying to lose 10 pounds. Maybe you should have less sodas and less chips and processed foods too. But if that's the main focus, if you're trying to lose 10 pounds and stressing yourself out, because the last 10 pounds are always the hardest to lose. Like your body just doesn't want to lose all the fat. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard because your body needs some level of fat. But I've seen people stress themselves out over trying to fix their knee arthritis. And then whenever I get those people in the office, I right away tell them, don't worry about it. Stop trying to lose those 20 pounds. Let's focus on the muscle imbalance instead. And we make massive progress, and they're always so relieved. And then I paint them the picture, because we have people that come into our office, or people in our programs that are rail thin. I mean, they got some meat on them, but they're obviously not overweight. They're at a healthy weight, and they still have big, giant, swollen knees, knee arthritis, severe stages on the x-rays, and they're told that they need a knee replacement, and they don't have a weight problem. So it's not always weight. Now, if your pie chart looks more like this, where you're significantly overweight, then it's probably the case that, this might be your muscle imbalance problem over here. We'll just say it's 33%, a third. And then the other half is nutrition and weight. If your pie chart looks more like this, then you have 2/3 of your pie chart that relates to what you're eating. In that case, I would tell you, don't join our program, because it's not the priority. You need to first shave off that 100 pounds that you're carrying around, because it's truly putting too much pressure through your knee joint, and it will make a big difference for you to lose weight. Now, what we have seen in our programs is if you have a BMI greater than 35, then this is more like your pie chart. And if it's less than 35, then this is more like your pie chart right here. So I'm going to show you a picture of the BMI scale here next. And what you have to know, the way this works, you can see the image on there with the different colors. The orange strip in the middle is you're technically overweight. And it ranges from 25. You can see the white 25 right there, the 27, and the 30 that are all in the orange section. And then above 30 is where it starts to turn red. In that first section, 30 to 35, that's where you might actually have 30 or 40 pounds to lose, but we have still seen people improve by going through our treatment approach because the weight is still not too much. And the way that works is if you can gain enough strength in fixing the muscle imbalance to overcome that amount of weight. But once the weight's too excessive, once it's a higher percentage, beyond that BMI, we have seen that it's hard to gain enough strength to get the pain to calm down. So what you need to go do is lose some weight first. But the good news here is that you don't have to lose it all. You don't have to get down to 10% body fat. You could probably still be fine at 30 or 40% body fat and still make progress in your knee health, which is great because a lot of people are gaining weight because they're not as active, and then because they can't be active, they can't fix the knee problem. And so it's just this vicious cycle that keeps them gaining more weight and getting worse in their knee pain, where if you could be more active, if you could go walking, if you could do some exercise, then you could get the weight under control. Well, you don't have to wait. You don't have to lose too much weight to get there oftentimes. So it's a range. If you're a shorter person, the amount of extra weight you can carry is more like in the 40 to 50 pound range. If you're a taller person, then you could probably carry 50 to 100 pounds of extra weight before your BMI is too high. So you have to go calculate your BMI. We help people on the phone all the time, by the way, calculate their BMI, and we let them know if they shouldn't be in our program, if they're trying to get in, or if they're okay to come into the program. And within our program, we talk about weight every now and then too. So there you go. Nutrition is what you're eating. Remember, the whole foods are better in general over the processed foods. And then the weight, you can have some weight on you and still make improvements. There's people that are very thin that get knee arthritis. It just depends on how much weight relative to your height you have. That's what I'm talking about with BMI. All right, I hope everybody followed on there. If you didn't follow, if you have some questions, please comment. I want to clear that up because that's something that's not talked about in the medical field very much. There's not much research on it. There's research on losing weight and feeling better in your knee arthritis, but I'm talking about fixing knee arthritis for the long term so you don't have to have a knee replacement. They're just talking about taking the edge off. They don't talk about how this connects to muscle imbalances in the research. And that's what I'm doing all day here on this channel, on this account. All right, what do we got next here? Number 5. Sleep. So underrated. You heal the most and the fastest when you get good quality sleep. You have to hit, they call it REM, rapid eye movement. You have to hit certain stages of deep sleep, which you'll hit 2 to 3 times a night if you sleep enough. And it takes you, a couple of hours to cycle through one of those deep sleep stages. And that's when your body is doing amazing work at healing itself. But if you're not getting good sleep, either because you're in pain or your sleep habits are just not great, you need to be fixing those things. And so what I recommend, if you're in pain, if you can't sleep at night because your knee is hurting, or you can't fall asleep because your knee's hurting, or you wake up at night because of knee pain, is you need to fix problems during the day so that you're not so irritated by the time it's bedtime. What a lot of people do unknowingly is they're busy throughout the day, they're taking care of their activities, their daily, their chores, all the things they have to do. And as they're walking and doing things, they're gradually irritating their knees every step they take because they haven't fixed the imbalance yet. They're putting too much pressure through their knees. They haven't been using something like this to take pressure off. And so by the time they get to the end of the day, they're exhausted, their knees hurt. They just want to get on the recliner and put some ice on it and call it a day. And then they try to fall asleep with very irritated knees. It's no wonder why you can't sleep at night. You're setting yourself up for failure if that's the case. You need to make sure that you are treating your knees better throughout the day. It's probably not your mattress. It's probably not your sleeping position. Those are our factors, but they're tiny factors. You should be able to sleep in any generally acceptable position for your body, positions you've slept in the past, without your knees hurting. And if you're chasing the perfect sleeping posture or trying to get that special wedge pillow that goes under your knees or that funny one for your side, so you can sleep with your knees bent together, like those pillows are fine. You can use them. They may get you some more comfort at night, but they're not going to fix the problem long term. You need to stop irritating your knees throughout the day by doing some of this stuff and some of the other stuff I'm going to talk about. Now, that's part one of sleep. Part two is you might have some bad sleep habits, like you're on your phone at night when you're trying to go to sleep. You're watching television a little too late at night. You're not preparing yourself to sleep. You need to have a sleep routine. I have small children, and we put them through a sleep routine. We do some prayers. We read a book. We turn off all the electronics. We just have a routine that we go through that eventually ends with them winding down and falling asleep. And we make fun of the kids because they're little kids, and we need to take them through them as parents and all that stuff. But it's the same thing for adults. You have a routine to go to sleep, and if there's parts of that routine that are not moving you towards sleeping because you're scrolling social media, you're just doing things you shouldn't be doing at night, especially with a light entering your eyes. You need to have a dark room generally. You need to put the phone in another room, likely. The phones are a big problem for people. Sticking to the idea of an alarm to wake you up in the morning. I think that's a good idea for most people. But another hack that I've seen people do to get better sleep is having a going to bed alarm. In other words, have an alarm that says, all right, start getting ready for bed. Go brush your teeth, go floss, get the jammies on, and get to bed. Lay down in bed, get comfortable, and start falling asleep. That alarm is critical so that you get enough sleep throughout the night so that you can heal, so that you can feel good. Because if you don't get enough sleep, you're tired. You don't make decisions very well. That's when you start to not eat well and weight comes on. And then you overdo it in things. Your decision making is poor. Your healing is not good. Sleep is so underrated. It's like hydration in my mind. You need to make sure you change those sleep habits to help your knee arthritis. All right, guys, let's answer some questions here and comments. We got lots of comments coming in. Let's see who we can help out. 3-part comment coming up. Let's do this. We have Giovanna Casadillo. Awesome. She says, okay, how do I lose weight when I cannot move enough and I don't eat a lot? Oof. That's going to be a situation where you need to talk to somebody. Let me see what else you got here. I am 95 kilograms and I know that I am overweight a lot, but it is very hard to lose weight as I cannot move enough. Okay. What's the next one? I am dieting, but you have to move as well. And my doctor forbid me to go walking. Yeah, I am not an expert at this stuff, Giovanna. I need to, you want me to read this comment too? Okay. I guess it's related. Shirley Naring says, I agree. I have started walking less because of my right hip. I need to lose weight because my BMI is 33%. I just went to the doctor 2 weeks ago. Make sure you get BMI and body fat. They're different. BMI is not usually in a percentage. So if your BMI is 33, that's actually okay for doing our program. But if your body fat's 33%, that depends on your situation. And then Giovanna says, okay, it's the same comment. Okay, so talking about weight loss here, if you can't move, that's a vicious cycle that I was talking about. That's a tough spot to be in. I acknowledge that. And I need to tell you that I'm not an expert in that. What I would recommend is going to talk with your medical doctor, your nutritionist about getting on a plan and potentially working with a physical therapist or a personal trainer to get you to move in a way that's easy for you, that's doable for you. I have had patients in the past that have done this and have had massive success. And, as expensive as it might be if you have to pay out of pocket for these kinds of services, as you often might, especially for like a personal trainer and possibly a nutritionist. Sometimes insurances can cover nutritionists. It's your health on the line here. If you can't get your health straight, like you got nothing. You need to make sure that you get your eating figured out, if there's some other condition that you might have that's preventing you from properly losing weight, you need to discover what that is. You need to figure out there's a certain medication that you might need. You need to figure this out. I am not the person to help you with that. I fix muscle imbalances. I teach you how to do the exercises. If you can't get to these exercises because the weight's a problem, you got to go find that expert that's going to help you out. And I'm sorry I don't have that expertise. But I just got to tell you, I'm not your man on that. I'm not your man. I'm so sorry. And it sucks to be in that situation, but it is figure outable, guys. You got to go dig and find the right person to help you out for that. Guys, we have a phone call. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're taking phone calls. We have the helpline open right now. So 915-200-4159. Please give us a call. I'd love to help you out. I'd love to answer any questions you got and make sure you're not stuck. All right. 71 Shire says, I had surgery in October 2022 on my Achilles from a bone spur. Why am I still experiencing pain and swelling in my foot, especially when standing during a long period of time? Oh, that's so tough. Hard to say why. Because you had surgery on your foot and the foot bears your weight, when you stand up, that's a tough one to heal. Because you're just putting weight through it all the time. Hopefully you were on a boot and maybe on crutches and let it heal all the way. If you're still having pain there, then I would say the pain's not related to the bone spur. Very often, do I have a foot model here? I don't. Come on over here. Very often what happens with the bone spur is, I've seen this a lot, by the way, over the years, over my career. The most common place to get a bone spur in the foot is right there. There's, if you can see the side view here, maybe right there. This is the heel bone, and there's this little hook shaped structure on the bottom of the heel bone. That's where the plantar fascia attaches, and it goes out to the rest of the toes and some other things attached there too. But that is where that bone spur develops very commonly. And that's where it's surgically removed very often because it's just an accessible part of the foot for a surgeon. There's also the plantar fascia, which rarely is a problem, but it can be a problem. The more common problem that I find that causes pain in that same area where you would get a heel spur, where you had your surgery, is nerve pain coming off the sciatic nerve up in the back and the hip, and it runs down the back of the thigh, goes back of the knee, and it turns into the tibial nerve down here, and then the plantar nerve, and you have a branch that goes right there where that hook is, right near the area, and can cause pain. And a lot of times it's not the source of pain right here. I mean, you have pain in your heel, obviously, but fixing anything here at the heel is not going to yield good results. We have to go further up into the knee, into the hip, and even into the back to fix this problem. We have to look at what's going on at the nerves up here. It's very often a sciatica problem. That's what it comes down to. Is I see so many cases of heel pain that are related to sciatica, and if we go through a sciatica treatment, the heel pain gets better. I can't think of one patient that I've ever had with plantar fasciitis pain, bone spur pain because of it's connected with plantar fasciitis. A lot of times, like, people have been told they have plantar fasciitis. They also have a bone spur, and I do all the tension tests. I do all the plantar fasciitis tests, and I consistently figure out that it's a nerve problem. That's the majority of the problem. Doctors miss it all the time. They don't know how to do the nerve tests. And then I treat them for sciatica. I've had arguments with patients where they're telling me, they're saying, no, the doctor said, I have an x-ray. Look at my bone spur on the foot, on my heel bone. There's a bone spur right there. And I tell them, I know it's a bone spur, but a bone spur is just a thickening of the bone in response to extra pressure going through the area. So we got to look at the toe strength, but let's fix the nerve anyway. And I'll do treatment for both the sciatic nerve, and we'll increase the foot strength, and it goes away. It goes away consistently. So look at sciatica treatments, which we talk about on our channel. We have videos. So go type in our on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook channel, sciatica videos. You'll find it. GK. Oh, we have a call. Let's answer this comment first. Okay, they're setting it up. GKNTRN says, how can I improve my quads along with glutes without hurting my knee? Thank you. That's a tough one, because I would say don't improve your quads. Your quads are already probably strong. If you have, let me back up here because you didn't say that you had knee pain or hip pain. If you don't have knee pain or hip pain, then I would say it's okay if you get your quads stronger. And the way that I would do it is in exercises that also use your glutes. So squats are a great one. Deadlifts are a good one. Walking with glute dominance is a good one. Cycling with glute dominance. You can usually get to all your general exercises that you would do in the gym or that you would do, like with a trainer, like to get your general fitness better. But you have to do them using your glutes primarily. Secondarily, you use your quads, and you will strengthen your quads that way. I'm a little sore for my quads today because I ran 3 miles yesterday. I'm also very sore for my glutes, though. And I was very conscious of using my glutes, but I certainly use my quads. So quads will get stronger when you're exercising correctly. But I would not focus on strengthening your quads if you have knee pain or hip pain or back pain, because then you're going to feed the imbalance. If you have pain already, that's a clear sign that you probably have an imbalance. It's been putting too much pressure on those joints, and strengthening the quads is only going to worsen the pressure, which eventually worsens the pain over time. And then it's just a matter of time before something gets torn, arthritis develops, bursitis, something gets irritated, and you're not a happy person as a result of that. You have to make sure that you strengthen glutes and ignore the quads until they're no longer, you don't have pain anymore. Then we can get them worked out later on, but you're not hurting at that point. And so it's okay. Hope that helps you out. All right, we're going to talk to Mary from New York, who's got some knee arthritis problems. Let's help Mary out here. Hey, Mary, are you there? This is Dr. David.
Hi, Dr. David. It's so good hearing your voice.
Oh, absolutely, Mary.
Yeah.
Happy to help you out.
Yeah, you're my hero. I hope that you. What? I'm going to say this very quickly. I was diagnosed by my doctors at Presbyterian Hospital in New York City. And they diagnosed me with knee, what is it?
Osteoarthritis?
I have, yes. And both knees are bone on bone.
Yeah.
And they asked for me to go. They gave me a list of things I had to do. They said it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to go to surgery on March the 9th. They diagnosed me on December the 9th. Well, what had happened during that, I went to a doctor that had been injecting me with the gel.
Yes.
And I went back to him, and he injected me with the gel. But this time, it didn't work.
Yep.
And that's when I got x-rays done.
Okay.
And on the 9th, the doctor saw me, and he says, yeah, you got to go to surgery because you're bone.
Yeah.
But what stopped me was the weather. I'm still dry.
Yeah.
And I could barely walk, and the snow fell on us in New York where we couldn't go out, and we 0 degrees, and it didn't melt.
Goodness.
So I was in pain. I went on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's where I met you.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And I'm listening because the doctor had asked me to go to therapy for the month of January. So that I could have the operation on March the 9th, which is on a Monday. Start the second week of
yeah.
They want to do the surgery.
Wow. It's just a few weeks away.
But stopped me. The weather stopped me. I couldn't go to therapy.
Wow.
That's when I got on computer. And I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And what you were saying to me, I'm going, let me just try what he's saying. So I'm kicking like I'm on the back of
a truck. Yeah.
Like you were.
The tailgate swings.
The numbness went down.
Wow.
And I can walk. That's what I said. And I can walk a little bit. I said, wait a minute. Do I really have to have this surgery? Or can I do the on my own.
Yeah.
And all the therapy that's been selected for me is for before surgery to tighten up the muscles so that I could heal quickly.
Yeah.
But I haven't tried the surgery I haven't tried the therapy that you suggest that works. For some people, for a lot of people that you've done the testing on.
Yep.
And we're not up to speed here.
I know.
And
all over.
I want to try. I still haven't dismissed what the doctor said, but I want to try to whether I'm a good candidate for the therapy that works for me, where I don't have to have surgery.
Yeah.
I've had too much surgery.
Oh.
I have arthritis in the neck.
Jeez.
I have arthritis in the toes. I have arthritis in the finger. And they did surgery in 2015. I had arthritis in the spine.
Wow.
They fused my...
Well, let me ask you this. Can I ask you a question real quick? Because I think this will help you have a little more certainty on if you can fully avoid the surgery or not. And, ultimately, you got to try the treatments that we offer online here out, on our free videos. And if you want to look in our program, which is free also, we have phase 1 of our knee arthritis program free on our website. But here's the thing, is surgeons are often just recommending a knee replacement based on the x-ray and then how bad your pain is. That's what they've been doing. But are you looking at me are you seeing me on your screen somehow?
Well, I'm seeing you only when I go to YouTube. Now, I'm not on the computer. Okay,
well then don't worry about it. Here, I'll just describe what I want you to do. So if you can sit down, and all I want you to do is pull your knee in towards your chest. So just sit down so that you're safe, and then grab your hands and just pull your knee in towards your chest. And if your knee bends all the way, I know you said both knees, even if it hurts, it's because if you have swelling, it's going to hurt. But if your knee bends and it's not too much of a struggle to get near the end of the motion, if you at least have 80-90% of your normal motion on both sides, and then if your knees straighten out, if you just straighten out your knees in front of you and there isn't a big block of motion, then to me, the joint, or I'll use the skeleton here, the joint itself, where the thigh bone and the kneecap and the shin bone all connect to make the knee, it works. It works. If you have decent motion, then the joint works. It's just angry. That's why it's been hurting you. And so doing the tailgate swings has been helping it to calm down. Now, if you keep going with our treatment plan, you're going to learn about offloading. You're going to learn about some exercises to take some more pressure off the knee joint. And as you follow through those steps, it's probably going to resolve just fine. And at that point, you could tell the doc, hey, can you give me a few more months? I'm working on this, and see if they could postpone you a bit. Oh, you've already postponed it.
Because I want to try it. I don't want to go into, I want to try it.
Yeah.
Because it's working just with the tail swings.
Yep.
And I just did what you said to do. And guess what? I can bend my legs both ways.
Oh my gosh.
All the way to my chest. And I can straighten out again.
This sounds like you're a great candidate to avoid surgery if you do the right thing. So you got some work ahead of you, though. There's definitely some exercises you got to keep up, a routine you have to build in. But it's so worth it, because then you're not going to go have a surgery that might leave you worse. You might. I hear a lot of people that don't make it through the surgery, or they end up having an amputation because of all the infections and issues. And best case scenario, everything just turns out fine with a knee replacement, but then they still have limitations. Like they can't dance, they can't enjoy life the way they could if they had their knee.
Yes, I've considered all of those things, and I said to myself, I got to try this with all of my strength that I have left.
Yeah.
And if indeed I can't be helped, then I will have this surgery.
Yeah.
But whenever I go to physical therapy, there's always people in there screaming in pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I want to join the choir.
The choir.
I just want to.
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I think you're in a good situation. I think you've, thank God you found us, and you have it's worked for you already. The little that you've done, I think you have a promising road ahead of you if you can commit to it and keep going. So, and we're here to help you out. So just to remind you and everyone else listening, we have phase 1 of our knee arthritis recovery program 100% free on our website. If you go to our website, epmanualphysicaltherapy.com, there it is right there. You can scan on the image. And then you'll see start now for the knee arthritis our recovery program. The videos are just there. You don't have to log in. You don't have to create an account or pay any money. It's right there. And you can just start doing the videos and following through. And then if you'll progress, you'll feel better going through that very likely. And then we can look at the rest of the program if it's right for you after that.
Okay, so, give me something to write, please. I'm going to write that down. The website I should go to.
Yeah, EP. You know what? Can I send you to my? I'm gonna send you to my assistant here, and they'll get you all the details there, so you can get onto that. It was so nice talking to you. I'm so glad you found us.
Can I say just one more thing to you?
Absolutely, ma'am.
I believe that a lot of the pain has dismissed itself for a while because when they gave me the shot, I believe they're working. The shot is working now. But why it's working, I want to do the therapy. If it takes me 6 months, I'm going to stay with the therapy.
Yeah.
Because I believe that I may be a candidate that don't have to have that. If I got to do it for the rest of my life, that's better than being in pain for the rest of my life.
I agree 1,000%, Mary.
Yes, I'm going to do it.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for being.
You're welcome. Stay on the line. We're going to pass you over to Amber so she can get you on that website.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You, sir. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, she's so sweet. Mary in New York, you're going to do fantastic. You're going to do great. The fact that this happens all the time. I'm speaking to everyone. They'll try something simple from our program, like the tailgate swings. And just to show you the tailgate swings so that you know what we're talking about, you're literally just sitting somewhere where your feet dangling. You're just swinging your legs back and forth. You can move them together or opposites. It doesn't really matter. And it doesn't need to be aggressive. You're just doing some easy motion for the knee to get the fluid to circulate inside the joint. And that circulation of the joint fluid helps to bring nourishment to the cartilage. And because you're not standing up or putting resistance to your legs, you're not compressing the cartilage more. So it just feels good for most people. There are a few cases where this is a little too much for people. They're very, very, very irritated. But this is just one thing you might try. We have a lot of things to try in our program. The knee arthritis recovery program. And like I said to Mary, it's free. Right now, you can go to our website, epmanualphysicaltherapy.com, and there's a website right there. And you'll see the button to go to the knee arthritis recovery program. It should say start now or something like that. And then you can start seeing the videos. And we have a bunch of other free resources on there. You could download a case study. That I treated a patient with knee arthritis. And I wrote down all the details. I think, where is it? I don't have it with me right here, but you can download a case study that's similar. I can't drink my water, and I need like 5 arms to do all this. And this isn't it, but there's a case study where you can get all the details of the treatments that we did with somebody with knee arthritis. This right here is a report that we can send you if you take our phase quiz. So we have 4 phases in the knee arthritis recovery program. I'll show you what this looks like right here. And you can see this in our program that's free. And you figure out what phase you're in. There's questions that you need to kind of answer. We have a quiz that will figure out for you which phase you're in. And then once you determine what phase you're in, we'll send you through email a report that has to do with that phase. So like this is the phase 1 report. And then it's got suggestions on what exercises to do, information about the phase that you're in, what phase is coming next. Like it's a very helpful report for free. And then my staff just gave me the case study. This is Mary's case study for her knee arthritis treatment with us that she did here in person. So you can learn more details about that. And then all the videos for phase 1 are available on there too. All for free, guys. I just want to help you out. All right, let's keep going here. Let me take that swig of water that I was trying to take earlier. And let's get on with number 6. We have the massage gun. Super, super helpful tool. These things came out, probably been a decade now. And I love these things because they're so much smaller. They have the big ones that are more powerful too. This one I love. It's so compact and pretty powerful. And so they look like this. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the tip here is moving. And you put this on your leg, on your quad right here. Let me do this here. And you find the spots on your muscle where it's a little tender, a little painful. And then what I'm doing here is I'm staying on that spot and I'm just moving the knob around this way and that way to, the battery might have, yeah, we're low on battery here. You move the knob around this way to get it to angle different spots. And if you just give it 30 seconds to a minute in one area and then move into the next spot out here and the next spot, and you soften up all those spots, what you're doing is in those spots where it's tender, the muscle has kind of bunched up a bit because it's being overused, and then you get it to relax. And when you get it to relax like that, it overall relaxes the whole muscle, which then puts less pressure through the joint. And so it can give you some pretty quick relief. I mean, within a few minutes, you can get some massive relief and you'll feel like you can get around a bit better. And a simple tool like this, which will run you anywhere from, you can get these for $30 now, all the way up to $130 or and beyond. We just haven't charged this. Honestly, we haven't charged it in months. That's the first time they ran out of battery, and we've been using it here and there several times a week. So we just need to plug it back in, and it'll be just fine. But these things are well worth their money. But you don't have to just use this. I have another tool. This is I've mentioned in the past, a rolling pin, and this works similarly, where you just move it on your skin just like so, and you find the knot and you just rub that knot out, get it to loosen up. And it doesn't take long. 30 seconds, a minute is plenty. Usually after that amount of time, you should feel like it's not as tender anymore. And then you can move into the next spot. And my brace is in the way, but you can get real close to the kneecap. Just stay on the soft part of the muscle. You don't want to rub this on a bone. Same thing with the massage gun. You want to put that on your kneecap on the bone. You want to put this on the soft spots and find those knots to loosen them up, and then take pressure off the knee joints, off the hip joint if you have hip problems, and then you'll instantly feel better. Now, what you have to realize about using massage tools like this, or you can even use your knuckle and get in there, is it's not going to fix the whole problem, but it's going to buy you some time so that you can begin to use the right muscles. Because a big issue here is you've got a muscle imbalance. This is what I talk about that's kind of unique to what I'm explaining is in knee arthritis, you have muscles on the front of the thigh that are over dominant. These are your quad muscles right here. They're overused and they're compensating. That's why they're overused. They're compensating for weak muscles in the back of the hip, the glutes muscles, the butt muscles. When these muscles aren't doing their job, the hip muscles and the front of the hip muscles and the thigh muscles like to overcompensate for the weakness. And over time, that causes too much compression at the knee joint. And that's what sets you up for knee arthritis. And this is not something that the healthcare people are talking about. When you go to your doctor, they're probably not going to mention this. They're going to blame osteoarthritis in your knee on your age and your activities. You walk too much, or you stood for your job too much. And that's just false. That's just not good thinking. It comes back to the muscle imbalances. Because how is it that we can see someone here in our clinic or in our online programs, and they're getting older as time passes, as we all do, yet they get better? It's not an age problem. They fixed their muscle imbalance. They stopped working their quads so much. They've gotten stronger in their glutes. We have people that are in their 60s, 70s and up, and they will tell us, I've lost my butt. As I've gotten older, my butt's just gotten flatter back here. And then they start to realize I can't even turn on those muscles. And then once they figure that part out, they turn on the muscles and they start using it. give it a month or two, and they're usually like, wow, I actually have a little bit of a bump back there. More importantly, I can make them work when I want to, and that now starts to change the pressures in their joints, and that's what fixes knee arthritis. Even though they're a year older, after they've gone through our program, because some people stick around for a year, it takes the better part of a year to fix knee arthritis. And that's another part of the medical field, is they're rushing things. Like, we were just talking to Mary on the phone, and she had somebody diagnose her back in December, and they were saying, let's do surgery by March. It's been 3 months. That's the short end of what it takes for somebody to go through our program and get some pretty good improvement. We take 3 to 9 months. Some people take 12 or a little bit more than 12 months to fix their knee arthritis. The medical field is just pushing people through too fast. The problem is they're not really fixing the root issue. They're just doing short-term pain relief solutions, like injections, like Mary was getting, the medications. Even the surgery is a short-term relief solution, in my opinion, because it doesn't fix the muscle imbalance. A surgery like a joint replacement isn't going to make your glutes any stronger and change the pressures in your knee. And this is often why people still have knee pain after they have the knee replacement, is why they mess up the surgery. People loosen hardware and they end up having to have a revision of their knee replacement. It's because they haven't fixed the imbalance. So even if you're going to get the knee replacement, I strongly encourage you to go through fixing the imbalance, which is the information that I teach here, so that we can get back to normal pressures in your knee joint, and you can preserve your joint replacement if it's right for you to have the replaced joints. So, sorry, took a bit of a tangent. What I was talking about initially was massage gun. Very helpful tool to get the muscle to calm down and take pressure off the joint and set up the right muscles to start to work. All right, where are we going next? Up here, let's keep going on our lesson. We're in number 7 next. We're going to be talking about offloading. Finally, one of my favorites. This has been clutch for people, and it's so hard. People make it hard. Let me put it to you that way. It's only hard if you make it hard. Using a walker like this one right here. You got a walker. Sometimes they have wheels like this. It makes it a little easier to move. Sometimes they just have a straight point. But the point of this device is so that when you walk, let's say it's my right knee here that is hurting me. If I take a step on that knee with my full body weight, let's say I'm not holding on. I'm not holding on to the walker. If I step, I'm putting my full body weight through that knee that hurts as I take the next step with my other foot. And if I do that all day long, I'm taking thousands of steps with my full body weight on that knee, and it's not prepared because it's irritated. But if I can just step and put half my weight through this walker and half my weight through the leg, or more, I could put 3/4 of my body weight through this device and not put my full body weight as I swing my other leg, I am offloading my knee now, and that brings irritation levels down to where I can not be irritating my knee on a consistent basis every day. This, in my opinion, is the number one reason why people move so fast into surgery, because they're just constantly irritating their knee joint, and they're not using this simple $30 piece of equipment. You could probably find one of these at the thrift store for $10 and save your knee from a replacement and a whole lot of problems. If you just do some tailgate swings, offload, give it a few weeks, and I bet you're going to feel amazing improvements afterwards. You still got some work to do to fixing the muscle imbalance so you can get this long-term improvement. But the walker or a cane takes less pressure off than a walker, because you can only put one hand on this, and then it's got 1 point. So it only takes about 20% at most of your body weight off, but that might be enough. You need to figure out how much pressure you need to take off for your knee to not hurt. You need to not make it worse, because that's probably what you're doing if your knee hurts right now. You're just putting too much pressure on throughout the day. And if you can get it off, you're going to feel better. So whether it's the cane or some crutches work really well too, the walker, you need to figure this out and commit to it. The problem that people face, what makes it hard, is they start to deal with questions they get from loved ones and family and people that they see. What happened? Oh no, you're using the cane? You got the walker out? Oh my gosh, you must be so bad right now. And because that's what typically happens is people wait until they've had surgery, then that's when they use the walker for the first time. Or they wait till they just can't walk anymore at all. It's severe. Then they're getting the walker out when you should be getting the walker out when it's mild or moderate so you can get the pain under control, and then you get to ditch the walker. The normal way that it happens is you get the walker out and you never leave it. I see people get a knee replacement. They have to use a walker afterwards. They never really get strength back 100%. They get it back kind of enough to get by with the walker. And then they're married to the walker the rest of their life. And eventually they graduate to the wheelchair. I'd rather you not do that. That's what people are used to seeing. And that's why they get so concerned and they ask. But you just have to go through the social situation of being asked and just explain it. All you have to say, I'll give you the script. All you have to say to your friends and family is, I'm taking care of my knee. This is going to be a temporary solution. I'm taking pressure off. I'm fine. Thank you so much for your concern. I appreciate it. Something to that effect, and you'll deal with it. And really, you just have to tell them once or twice, and you're over it. And after you're gone, after you're done, and this is gone for a couple of weeks, you're good. You're improved. And you're doing fantastic, and it's so worth it. So offloading, guys, you have to do that. You have to offload if you're in a lot of pain. It's going to make a big difference. All right, where are we going next? We keep going with the lesson. We'll wrap it up. All right. Just move this out of the way so I don't trip. Oh, we're going to answer one comment first. Who we got? We got Jerry Laughlin. He says, I'm curious, why do you wear a big knee brace and yet the other day you said you did a 2 to 3 mile run? Shouldn't you avoid running? I want to resume running, but I have a bone on bone in one knee. Okay. I'm wearing a knee brace because I'm modeling them for you guys today. I don't wear a knee brace regularly. I don't wear braces ever, actually. I went through one time period where I did have a knee injury, and I wore a knee brace for almost a year, for 10 months, and I fixed my knee for the long term. But I had a loose ligament, and that's why I wore a knee brace. It wasn't because of an arthritis issue. I've had patellofemoral pain syndrome and chondromalacia in the past. I had Osgood-Schlatter's, which is a knee problem too. But it was all, as I've learned, as I've become a specialized physical therapist, I've learned about the muscle imbalance concept. I've kind of grown into that stuff. And so I don't need a knee brace. I haven't worn a knee brace it was 2013 when I wore a knee brace, a little bit into 2014. So it's been 12 years. We're in 2026 now. And I am running more now than I was back then. So I've improved. Now, if you're asking about why you should wear a knee brace, what I said earlier was for knee arthritis, for just plain old knee arthritis, if you will, you don't need a brace. Unless you feel like it takes the edge of the pain off and it's enough for you to not take pain medications, then go for it. But just realize it's not fixing the problem. Now, if you have bone-on-bone knee arthritis, it's the same situation. You don't need a knee brace. It's not necessary. Now, the braces that I'm wearing, let me just show you again, just to review. I was just modeling. This is a sleeve, and this is an example of a brace somebody might wear just to take the pain off. There's nothing magical about this. It's just adding compression. It doesn't restrict my motion in any way. But this brace over here, it's got hinges in it, and I can't bend all the way. And it's the hinges on the sides. There's big metal struts above and below the hinges. It's designed to keep my knee from moving sideways this way. And if you have a ligament injury, like an ACL tear, an MCL tear, LCL problem, a brace like this would be necessary at that point to keep some stability in your knee joint as you move around. It's not offloading the knee. It doesn't do that. It mechanically can't do that, because when you stand up and put pressure on it, you're still putting the same amount of pressure. The brace isn't really taking any pressure. It's just preventing the side-to-side motions from happening as much. Like I feel when I move that way, I feel the hinge and the bracket there kind of push against my knee. It doesn't let me go as much versus, I can have a lot more motion on this side. So that's why I'm wearing the brace. It's not because I need them. I'm just showing you guys examples of braces. Hope that helps you out there, Jerry. All right, number 8 here. we have exercise. This is the big one, guys. Now, I put it at the end here. And, specifically exercise to fix the muscle imbalance, because I'm not recommending general exercise here, as many people do imbalance. I'm recommending specific exercise, but I put it at the end here because all the stuff that I wrote leading up to it, supplements, braces, hydration, nutrition, weight loss, sleep, using the massage gun, offloading, 1 through 7 here is really just to get the pain under control, because you really shouldn't be exercising if you're in high pain. This is a mistake a lot of people make, is they're hurting. And I love what Mary said. She said everyone in physical therapy is yelling and she doesn't want to join the chorus. That was a great line. They're probably exercising too soon when they should be worrying about getting out of pain. But even in the medical field, people push, healthcare professionals push patients through pain and say comments like, it'll feel better later, like you have to hurt first and then it'll get better later. That's only true if you've had surgery. If you have been cut open and you have incisions that are healing, it is important for you to move, because you're going to scar down and you have to get some flexibility in your skin and all the tissues under there that were cut so that your joint can move properly, and it's going to hurt when you do that. But you had surgery. If you're trying to avoid surgery and heal naturally from knee arthritis, then I don't think that you should be hurting yourself first to then feel better later. I think that is not productive. It's actually going to make you worse. What needs to happen is you need to get the pain under control so you can sleep better. You need to get some weight off of you. If you have too much weight, you need to be eating the right kinds of foods. Make sure you have enough water. Massage your muscles if you need to. Definitely offload if it's hurting you to stand up and walk around. Brace is optional. I just talked about it. And then supplements could help put the building blocks in your joint to heal better. Once you're feeling better and the pain's under control, now you're ready for exercise. And I want you to do specific exercise. Specifically, you need to focus on fixing your glute strength, which might need to start with just activating the glutes. So many people don't even have glute activation. They will do this. Let me show you on the side over here. They will try to activate the glutes. I mean, like for instance, I'm going to do right here. They'll try to tighten these muscles back here and they don't work. What works instead is these muscles lock out right here on the front. These tighten up. These right here tighten up, and not these back here. What should happen when you tighten your glutes is you should tighten these muscles. You should feel like these are the ones that are working, not these. If you hold a glute contraction right now and you feel your thighs, whether it's the front right here or the back, getting tired, you have a muscle imbalance. Your muscles have somehow rewired themselves so that when you try to use these muscles back here, these work instead. And that is not good for your knee joint. It also can hurt your hip and your back. And where you need to start is not doing a tiresome, painful exercise. You need to start by thinking about tightening these back muscles and not allowing the thigh muscles to work when the glute muscles should. And for most people, that's just a everyday, every hour, just tightening your glutes and relaxing, tightening your glutes and relax, holding it for 10 seconds and relaxing, tightening the right side, the right butt muscle over here without the left, and then switching to the left and alternating sides and getting control of your glutes again. This is usually the case, especially for those of you guys that have the flat butt, the no butt, you've lost your butt. So many men over the years, as they get older, their butt flattens out and they need the belt or the suspenders to hold their pants up because they don't have a butt to hold their waistband over, and so things fall. And that's not an age thing. That's you haven't used your butt. You've lost the muscle because it said, well, I don't need to be used. I'm just going to wither away. I'm going to atrophy. Meanwhile, you have nice, strong thigh muscles because they're doing all the work. You need to activate those muscles first. So as you can activate them, then we need to tire them out. We need to work them out. And the best way to do that, after you can activate your glutes successfully, because in the healthcare field, people don't, healthcare professionals don't tell people what muscles to fire. They just tell them to do the motion. So they'll say, do a bridge. And they'll just pick up like that. And they'll say, great, you're doing it perfect. And that's incorrect. You need to be using your glutes when you do the bridge. You need to know that your glutes have activated and that as you raise up, they're still active and you should still feel them being used here at the top. And if you feel other muscles working harder than these glute muscles back here, that's wrong. You're going to feed into the problem in your knees. Your hips and back are going to hurt too. And it is not a good idea for you to proceed through any exercise if you're not focusing on making it a glute-driven exercise, a glute-biased exercise. Because that's why you lost your butt muscles. That's why the pressures are wrong in your joints, and that's why you're developing arthritis. So it needs to be a specific exercise. So many people get told, go walk, with no instruction whatsoever on which muscles to use when they're walking. And if you can fire your glutes properly and then get to walking to where every time you take a step, like I'm stepping with my right foot right here, when I bear weight on my right leg, my right glute should activate, which takes control because some people can't do that. Then as I step onto my left leg, this glute's going to relax. And then now my left glute's going to activate and tighten up as I stand on this leg and bear weight to swing my other leg through. And every time I walk, I should be tightening one glute as I bear weight and then tighten the other glute and alternate tightening your glutes as you walk. That's how it should happen. If you cannot do that, then you should not be walking for exercise. You need to back off to just thinking about tightening your glutes and practice left to right. Once you get good at that, and once you have some decent strength and you can practice it while you walk, now you can reintroduce walking, but make it glute dominant walking. Exercise needs to be specific. Otherwise, it's going to take you down the pathway where it hurts you. This is why so many people say, I went to physical therapy and I got worse. It's because you didn't have any specific instruction, very likely, on which muscles to use. And if you did, maybe you didn't get the feedback that you should have. You didn't have the understanding that it needed to be these muscles back here. So guys, it needs to be this way. Otherwise, you're going to head down the pathway to having a joint replaced, and it's still probably going to hurt even after you have the replacement. All right, we're answering some comments next. I'm going to take this brace off because this brace is a size too small for me, and it's cutting off my circulation. So while we find a comment, let me slide this one off. Give me some breathing room. Oh, much better. I'll take this one off too, just to even it out. All right, we got Leslie McNamara. Says, hi, Dr. David. You've helped me so much with my knee chondromalacia. I really appreciate all your help. Love from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. Oh, that's fantastic, Leslie. I'm glad to be able to help you out. I love that you said chondromalacia on there because that's the step one, or really step two if you count patellofemoral pain syndrome, to working towards knee arthritis. It's the same muscle imbalance. It's the same pressures in the joint. But the fact that you caught it now when it's just chondromalacia and not knee osteoarthritis, you're set up. You're not going to have knee arthritis because you know how to fix it. So good job for you, Leslie. I'm so happy that this has helped you out. We have Melissa Walton who says, I have a Baker's cyst in one leg and fluid behind both kneecaps. Yeah, that's the fluid buildup that I was talking about. I just discovered you, and I'm so grateful because I keep seeing advice to strengthen the quads. Don't do it. And last summer, my quads just wouldn't turn off. Yeah, because they're overcompensating for weak glutes probably. From Okotos, Alberta, Canada. Awesome. Canada's well represented here today. So glad you found us, Melissa. You're spot on. It's the fluid develops in there, and that same fluid that goes into the Baker's cyst, the cavity, the space inside the joint, if you will, it goes right behind the kneecap. So it can look like your kneecap's kind of floating. Some people I've seen people do this where they, like on their knee, they'll push their kneecap in and they'll be like, wow, look, it touches my I can make my kneecap touch the thigh bone behind it and it's floating on some fluid in there. That's an obvious sign that you have an overdevelopment of fluid in response to probably too much pressure through your knee joint. So you're in the right spot. You got the right advice. Keep going with this, Melissa. We're going to fix this. Barbara Downey says, hello from Lidditz, Pennsylvania, doing the glute tightening walk. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Davey. You helped me get back to walking without pain. Yes, Barbara, I'm so happy for you that you're not in pain anymore walking. You're doing the glute walking that I was talking about. Right glute, left glute, right glute, left glute. The next step, no pun intended, is to get your feet involved in that. So just in case you're not already doing it, when your right glute contracts, your toes on the right foot, the same leg you're standing on, should kind of grip the ground just a little bit. That'll help raise your arch and get your feet involved. And every time you contract the left glute, same thing with the left toes, just a little toe grip. That's something that we talk about in the knee arthritis recovery program. I'm so glad you're doing better, Barbara. Good job. Cindy Kite King says, good afternoon from Odessa, Texas, just down the road from us. I watch for the hips, but everything you say is excellent for all. Oh, yes, it is. That's how I built this. You know, the muscle imbalance affects so many joints. It's the same muscle imbalance that sets up hip arthritis and other hip problems like labrum tears. It also sets up back pain, a lot like disc issues, herniations, stenosis, pinched nerves, and it sets up knee arthritis and meniscus tears, all those things. So fixing one of these issues with the same muscle imbalance usually fixes the other ones too. So glad you're benefiting, Cindy, and glad you're down the road from us. That's so cool. We have here Poplatini. Oh, I can't say the last name. Zeznaniash. It says, hi, this is Raphael. Greetings from Warsaw, Poland. Poland's here. Fantastic. I'm having trouble activating and feeling my glutes while doing hip thrusts with the barbell. I can feel my lower back. Oh, that's not good, Raphael. What to correct? I would back off on the weight. Maybe you could still do the hip thrusters with the barbell, but maybe take weight off. You might need to just do the barbell by itself. And if you can't activate your glutes and you're feeling your back muscles more so still, even with the barbell, you need to back all the way down to bridges. It's okay to regress. I know for people that are lifting weights, it doesn't feel great to be like, well, I was picking up 100 pounds. And you want me to pick up nothing now? Yeah, that's what I want you to do. Quick story. I had a patient that came in years and years ago, right when I had cracked this muscle imbalance stuff. Competitive power lifter, was deadlifting over 600 pounds, hurt his back doing deadlifts. And of course, everybody told him, oh, it's because you're picking up so much weight and you're deadlifting. Excuse me. He couldn't even bend over without a lot of pain. And when he tried to do deadlifts, he said he couldn't even pick up the bar. It was just hurting him so much. There were some joint issues, which I helped him fix, but we went over the muscle imbalance stuff and he was not using his glutes. He just had no concept of how to use his glutes. I taught him that. Time passed. He got a little bit better. He stopped doing treatment. He got back to activities. He comes back a year later because he hurt his elbow doing some other lift and then fills me in and says, I've been doing the glute stuff. And now I can deadlift 700 pounds and I got there so easy. I feel like I can keep going and picking up even more weight. And it's because I got my glutes to activate properly every time. And I don't let myself go more weight unless I know my glutes are involved in the activity, in the deadlift, in the exercise. So that's what I would say to you, Raphael, is don't let yourself proceed. It's okay to regress like my patient did to just the barbell or nothing for a little bit so that you can get your glutes involved and bring your glutes along with you into the heavier weights. Hope that helps you, Raphael. Right up next, we have Kathleen Spadoni. Your thoughts on genicular nerve block for knee pain? Oh, this is a good one. So the genicular nerve, genu means knee. So genicular means the knee nerve. You have a nerve that wraps, we have markers. Let me just draw it on myself for you guys. So you have the femoral nerve, which runs right through here. And then it goes kind of on the inside. It branches out and goes to your quad muscle this way and this way and this way. But then there's a branch here called the saphenous nerve. Let me see if I can draw an S there for you. Hope that looks like an S. Maybe I drew it backwards. But then it wraps around this way, and you have the genicular nerve that comes around the front of your knee this way. And there's a branch of the saphenous nerve that runs all the way down into your ankle that way. But this nerve right here, that runs right over your meniscus, right under the kneecap, right over the fat pad, all of these spots that get blamed for pain, that branch of the saphenous nerve, which is the genicular nerve. Oh, let's see if I could do a G. Hope that looks like a G. Doctors like to come in and burn that nerve right there. Let me get a red marker. And they do a nerve block or a radio frequency ablation where they burn that nerve, and now you don't have pain in this area for a time. but you also don't have sensation, and it can mess with how you're feeling. It doesn't fix the muscle imbalance. This doesn't solve the long-term problem. Now, if your pain is so bad that you can't sleep at night and you've tried things and maybe this is right for you at that point. But my strong belief is that I would rather you not burn your nerves, because you probably need those nerves to be able to function later on in life. So if you can figure out how to preserve them, that's a good idea. And the way that you would preserve them is to fix the muscle imbalances, because this same nerve that I'm showing you here gets pinched way up here in your hip because your quads and your hip flexors are too active. Let me show you on the skeleton here. That nerve pops out from this area right here. And if your hip flexors and quads in this region are too active, it can change the pressures up in your hip joint and cause pinching up in the hip. It can also pinch the back because of those same hip flexors. They can compress the back and pinch the nerve in this area. So you have multiple spots up here where that same nerve that runs all the way down into your knee, the genicular nerve, it can cause pain down in the knee. Like I was talking about with the plantar nerve in the bottom of the foot, it can start up in the back. So we need to look at doing lower ab exercises. We need to look at doing glute exercises to let the hip flexors calm down and let the quads calm down, leave enough space for the nerve, and that usually feels better in the knee joint. So that's the plan. The problem that people run into is that my plan takes time and effort. You got to do exercises. You need to wait over a few weeks. The pain's not going to go away instantly. The surgeon's plan or the doctor's plan that wants to burn your nerve, they're telling you, you're going to come in, I'm going to burn the nerve. Tomorrow you're not going to feel any pain, but it doesn't solve the long-term problem. The nerve can grow back and you can still continue to have pain. Other things can hurt. The meniscus can hurt. The kneecap can hurt. So many other problems can still continue to happen because you haven't fixed the root problem. So whether you want to do it or not, it's up to you. I'm not living in your body. I highly recommend fixing the long-term problem because I think you're going to have better quality of life later on. Hope that helps you out there, Kathleen. Elizabeth Herrera says, hello, will you have a video on IBT exercises? I'm not familiar. I am not having any luck on getting rid of knee problems. So unsure if it's, maybe you mean IT band. IT band syndrome or osteoarthritis of the knee. Thanks for all of your videos. Liz in Texas. Oh, fellow Texan. We do have videos on IT band syndrome on YouTube. I do. I think I have a playlist for IT band syndrome, and it is the same muscle imbalance. I can't stress how important fixing this muscle imbalance is for many causes of hip pain and knee pain. But Elizabeth, if you fix your glute strength, here's the thing with IT band syndrome. Since I got shorts on today, let's draw it out. The IT band starts way up here at the top of the hip. There's a muscle, I'll draw it in red, called the TFL, way up here, about where your front pocket would be. And that muscle connects into the IT band, which runs down here, and it attaches to your shin bone, and it runs out this way, kind of goes behind it. But this muscle right here that I've kind of drawn in red, let me outline it. I don't want to go too high. But that muscle right there, TFL, is what becomes too active if you don't have good glute strength back here. If glute strength is inadequate, TFL loves to take over, and then it yanks because it connects into the IT band. It starts to pull everything here, and you can get pain anywhere in this area. Oftentimes, the TFL hurts some people, but you can also get knee pain as a result. And the solution to fix IT band syndrome is to get better glute strength, which goes back to fixing the problem of, can you even activate your glutes? Is the TFL too active? Might you need to massage it with the massage gun or the roller? Get other muscles involved, like your quads and your other hip flexors. There's so many muscles to address in IT band syndrome. It's not just a matter of only fixing the TFL or stretching. There's a whole muscle imbalance to fix in order to get this pain off the side of your leg and the outside of your knee. I hope that helps you out. And I talk about it in our videos on YouTube, by the way. If you find that playlist, maybe our moderators can comment it on the IT band playlist, IT band help playlist, I think is what it's called, something like that. All right, we have Wani Yasir, who says, sir, my knee makes sounds when I straighten my leg or I try to push my leg a little hard. Okay, so you're pushing your leg out straight and it makes a sound. That happens often. My knee sounds like that. I wish you guys could hear it. It's going to be tough to hear, but inside the knee joint, let me use my skeleton. If you have had damaged cartilage in the past because you've had chondromalacia patella or knee arthritis or something, the surfaces on the inside of the knee joint where motion happens might not be completely smooth anymore. They might be a little bit bumpy. Doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It just means that as the knee joint is moving, as the kneecap moves up and down on the thigh bone, it encounters some bumps. And if you're moving really fast, it might make a noise. It might sound gritty or sound like little crunchy noises in there. And as long as it doesn't hurt, because it's not irritated, you're good. Like my knee sounds crunchy. If you're here right now, you hear not super loud, but loud enough that if it's quiet, you'll hear it. And I can squat, I can run, I can do everything. And the thing is, I know my limits. If I do too much, those bumps begin to develop too much friction and it gets irritated. Then I'm going to get some swelling, I'm going to get some pain. But if you can manage your activity levels within your tolerance, you'll be fine. And truthfully, you'll probably increase your tolerance as you continue to exercise. So the short answer is, if it doesn't hurt, don't worry about it. If it does hurt, back off a bit and make sure that it's not hurting in the future. So hope that helps you out, Wani. All right, let's come back over here. Whew, we are at time, right? Oh, we have one more comment here. Gloria K. If you have spinal stenosis, can you still do these exercises? Yeah, the exercises that I teach people. So like I was talking about, activating your glutes, getting your lower abs as part of it, walking with your glutes. All these are exercises that actually help spinal stenosis. We have people in our knee arthritis recovery program that also have back problems. They have a history of sciatica, spinal stenosis problems, disc herniations. They tell us because we duke it out in the program. I mean, we don't fight. We help them with their problems. So people are giving us their issues that they're dealing with, and they're saying, you know, my knee arthritis is an issue, but so is my disc herniation that's causing sciatica. So is my stenosis problem that I've had surgery for in the past. And the good thing is that by fixing key muscle groups to fix the muscle imbalance for knee arthritis, we are also fixing the back problem because it takes pressure off the back joints. If you have good lower abdominal activation and strength and good glute activation and strength, you're going to take pressure off your back, and it helps spinal stenosis. All right, guys, that's time. I got to get going here. Got to go be with family, pick up kids, do the parent routine. I got a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and they're all so busy and they all need attention. So I'm going to head out over there and enjoy my family. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and I hope that you guys get better. Please go check out our free stuff on our website. We have our free phase 1 for the knee arthritis recovery program and for the hip arthritis recovery program. We have a phase quiz. We have tons of videos on YouTube and on Facebook to help you guys out. We have a knee arthritis help playlist. And then we even have a bone-on-bone knee arthritis help playlist. So we have tons of help for you guys. Go check out our website to start on learning about our resources. Guys, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week.